Hello and welcome to another PC Time Capsule video, this time covering Battlefield 3. Doesn't sound that retro, but it actually is according to John Linneman, and that is right. I'm joined today by John Linneman over there on the PlayStation 3.
Yes, Battlefield 3 is over 10 years old, thus retro. But this is an important game in that it was a game that really showcased a new initiative within DICE and EA to push their own engine technology. It has gone moderately well, I'd say, overall, but Battlefield 3 was an incredible presentation at the time, and that first demo blew everybody away.
Yeah,
so today, that's what we're looking at. But we're not alone, are we, Alex?
No, this is a new thing for, I guess, these time capsule videos here. We're also joined by Richard Ledbetter over there on the Xbox 360. That's right, triple threat.
Yes, I am here, Alex. Thank you for inviting me. Yes, I'm playing Battlefield 3 on an Xbox 360. I picked up a second-hand copy for 50 pence. And yeah, very, very interesting game. Obviously, I was here when working on Digital Foundry when this was a new game. And,
I know, right?
Yeah, great times.
Yeah, so we're starting the cinematic training mission. I am on the PS Triple, of course. I did not own this version. I played it on PC, but I picked it up for dirt cheap, and this is my
Look
first time.
Look at these differences right
here
here already.
So what do we got here?
We got some shadow maps, but they're not actually too different looking.
No.
They look pretty good, actually, at all systems.
Obviously, though, the thing about Battlefield 3, getting the multiplayer going across 3 platforms that can't play together, not that feasible. So we decided we wanted to look at the most graphically impressive aspect, I guess, which is the campaign.
Yeah.
And, Alex, you could probably intersperse some of that PC demo footage as well.
Oh, yeah, because that was the thing.
And we can kind of see...
made people go crazy.
How the console... Yes. So let's go.
Yeah, so Battlefield 3's campaign is interesting is because, usually Battlefield, when you think of it, you don't actually think of the campaign.
So before we continue, let's all get to this M1014 and pick it... Okay, never mind. Okay, that did not work. Okay, well...
Never mind.
Let's just roll.
Oh my god.
QTE time.
Yeah, I can't wait to
Alex,
go
you can
forward.
probably sync these in post.
Yeah, let's sync those QTEs. Oh, look at that. This game did have some really cool stuff with Frostbite 2, which is the engine powering this game. You could see on that guy's hand when he grabbed us. Some nice subsurface scattering, actually. It's not too bad looking.
So I think the first thing to really... Well, we'll get there when we get to the next section, actually. We have to talk about that first demo again.
Yeah.
But for now, yes, the game opens up with this sort of super scripted train section. And Alex, you and I were kind of lamenting the fact that although this campaign is beautiful, it's extremely basic and straightforward in a way that Bad Company was not.
No.
And it feels like it was DICE's attempt to answer Call of Duty. And that may have been a bad thing.
It was definitely a bad thing. Because when people ended up talking about this game, it was in spite of the campaign. Immediately after people got it in their hands, I even think maybe even after from the first press previews, people were already like, oh, it's one of those games. And, when people now talk about this game, it's more about reminiscing about how interesting the multiplayer section of it was. The campaign is... it's actually pretty hard to play these days, I would say. Like, just even playing this first mission, if you play it, for example, it's mainly you just pressing the W key and or space occasionally on PC here.
And the quick time events.
To do a quick time event.
Yeah.
I guess you could play on a higher difficulty, but oh my goodness. No.
I was playing this on PC recently as well, and then I also played Battlefield 4 back to back. And I was shocked at how much better that campaign is. And I'm surprised it didn't get more praise for that because it's such a dramatic improvement over this game in terms of the single player content specifically.
Oh yeah, it looked also obviously for the time when it released. I thought it was a very attractive game. This too is as well. I mean, we'll talk a little bit about some of the tech shortly enough.
Hurry up, Alex.
Yeah, I got to move forward. There's a waypoint that you can literally only go forward, and there's a waypoint in front of me. Yeah. Here we go.
Are you alone?
I'll sync these up in post again to make it actually look better.
So now we're getting to Operation Swordbreaker, and this is actually where we really want to talk here, because I want to ask Richard about this because obviously when Battlefield 3 was revealed, this was the mission that they shared. They showed the game running on a PC, presumably high-end. We didn't see this part. This is the 8 hours earlier cutscene, which is a video. But, Rich, what do you remember from this? Because, I mean, we know how when a big reveal happens within the industry now, we're obviously going to cover it, right? And at the time, this was a gigantic reveal, so... What do you remember your thoughts, like when it happened, how it fits into DF at the time?
I think the thing that is the biggest takeaway from me back in the day was that they were really aiming for a next generation renderer to prepare themselves for the upcoming generation. And there was, Battlefield 4 as the launch game. But Battlefield 3, they were laying the foundations years ahead for this new generation of games, right? And this is DX11, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. DX11 on PC. You required I think DX10 or DX10.1 card or DX11.
Right.
Like, it would shut off features. It was a superset game.
Because
so
at the time,
really good.
most PC ports that were using DX11, it was an optional extra, and it typically hurt performance with stuff like tessellation. I think the classic example is Arkham City, which stuttered horribly with DX11 features enabled. And but this was actually designed from the ground up to be effectively a next generation game in the current generation, as it were. So the challenge, I think, from my perspective, was yes, this was looking pretty awesome on the PC, but how would the console versions stack up? And because obviously this was designed for a completely different class of hardware, but obviously they had to accommodate these consoles. And I think first of all we saw the level we're about to see running on PlayStation 3. And again, it looks spectacular, but it was not the finished article because it had those horrible sawtooth shadow maps. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Which they improved it for the final game, I think.
Well, that wasn't that famously on Jimmy Fallon, where they showed Battlefield 3.
Yeah,
Jimmy Fallon, still ticking, still alive. Yeah.
Is he still playing Battlefield though? That's the question.
That's a good question.
Probably not.
No.
So that was the kind of the environment in which I remember the game, and also the fact that there was no sign of Xbox 360 whatsoever. We didn't see it until launch. Everybody was kind of thinking, is this triple optimized? Is this for the triple? What's happening with Xbox? Turned out the port was okay. It was fine. It was virtually indistinguishable from PlayStation 3. But also, of course, the developers on PlayStation 3 were, Johan Anderson, Reppy, Christina Coffin. I think she was working on the PlayStation 3 version. There was a lot of talk of using the SPUs.
Totally.
And getting the most out of the system that way. I think there are anti-aliasing differences as well. Don't you have MLAA on PlayStation 3? Possibly.
Well, it's actually optional. You can turn it off.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't
check
that
it
totally
out.
weird?
If I pop into the options menu here, maybe I'll do a quick comparison. So there it is, anti-aliasing
Okay.
off. So if I save this setting, how about I do a static?
Yeah.
Here we go. This rail.
Oh, that looks
so
awful.
this is anti-aliasing off. And then Alex, you can probably do a side comparison here.
Yeah, I'll do the side by side.
Switch this on.
How's it
There we
look?
go. That's much, much, much better.
Yeah,
But it is static, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? Because this was the era where post-process anti-aliasing was, it was the ultimate anti-aliasing for the time, because these type of games couldn't really support MSAA on consoles. There was just too much of a computational hit. So I think Xbox 360 might be using FXAA, a kind of lower
For sure
grade.
it is.
Yeah. Wow, I can already see the tearing.
I gotta admit though, like looking at this running on PS3 and 360, it actually holds up shockingly well.
Oh,
Like,
they
this
did a great job.
This really looks comparable to the PC
Yeah.
version. Like, obviously it's missing, or some features are dialed down a bit, but the actual visual quality, like the experience is here.
Yeah, I know. So one thing I wanted to talk about really quickly was what Rich was saying about the PS3 version taking a special importance here, because they wanted to essentially prep themselves for next gen by working on GPGPU features. They're in the PC version. It's one of the reasons why it requires DX11, but you can also turn off the feature. But it uses compute shaders to do tile deferred shading. really important in a game like this one, where even in this level right here, but especially the last one, you can see all these lights set up. In the previous version of Frostbite, like with BFBC1 and BFBC2, they couldn't do that at all. It was just a straightforward renderer. So it enabled all this like deferred lighting action we see in the game right here, as well as some of the shading stuff that's going on. And on PS3, they actually did the shading literally on the SPUs.
Which is nuts.
Which is kind of nuts. We all know that the PS3 has a pretty weak or mediocre GPU for the time of release. So that's how they really, amped up the PS3 version, by making the SPUs doing typical job that is done definitely on the GPU.
That was the secret behind the PS3's best looking games, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was.
I think Killzone 2 was also one of the first big ones to really go heavy on SPU stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And they were also deferred at a time that was early days for deferred rendering, if I recall.
Oh yeah, this is more like late. So like most things at this point in time had already switched over to it. Like we saw, I think this is when we saw the Samaritan demo too, which is Unreal Engine 3 in 2011, being I guess deferred for the first time. It was them prepping for it, and interestingly on Xbox 360, they're also using a tile deferred shading scheme, but they don't have anything like SPUs at all. They don't have compute shaders at all. And they're actually doing like a readback system where the tiling is controlled by the CPU in the game.
That's really cool.
It's really cool. Totally crazy that they managed it. It's working. It's running at the same resolution as the PS3 version. Running, I guess, well enough. I'm going to get up to where you guys are.
It's funny you say that though, Alex, because
look at this difference here. This area looks a little bit different on PC, I think, doesn't it?
Let me see.
If you go back, the bounce lighting, maybe it's just the way you guys are streaming over to me, but it looked darker on your end.
Let me bounce back.
Yeah, don't go too far forward, Rich. Uh-oh.
Here, if I stand by this wall here.
Let's do a little bit of a lineup. Let me get right over to where you are. Where's that little?
Yeah.
You're like right here, right? Okay, yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, so like this.
So how does that
Actually,
look?
you know what? Other than the, like slight differences in aliasing in the shadows, it actually looks really, really similar.
It does.
Kind of shocking, because I was reading some of the presentations about this game beforehand, and they were saying, the GI system on consoles is less complete. It's like missing some stuff. And it's like, actually, it holds it really well.
They did a great job, and I think. Wait, is this too dark here? Let me check something here.
Yeah, I mean, this section does look pretty dark on my set too. I'm running it over HDMI. Let me talk a little bit about my PC, because this is all about time capsule PCs. And for this, I grabbed a PC which barely felt retro. But it really is for this game. It's a Core i5 2500K, kind of epic CPU that lasted throughout almost the entire generation, the preceding generation of this one. As well as with a slightly less accurate GTX 670. Sadly, my GTX 570 and Radeon 6970, I couldn't find them, and the NVIDIA card was broken, so I had to use this. This came out 5 months later than Battlefield 5, but it's still ballpark performance for like a 560 Ti SLI rig from that time period. And then it's 8 gigs of RAM running on Windows 7 and using EA Play version of this game. Yes, I'm literally using a legal version of this game, which is something you can't always do for always online games in retro content.
That's true.
Yeah, this room looks great.
Wow, this looks cool here down this hallway or this alleyway.
Can you shoot off the lights there on the PS3 version?
Can you on the PC?
I already tried it out earlier, and I know you can. I'm curious if you can on the PC. PS3. Yes, you can. Oh my goodness, look at that.
So
dynamic lighting.
I think Rich, from a Digital Foundry perspective, one of the shocking things about this game is that the PS3 version is actually good, which is not something that you could take. Like that was the generation where Xbox basically ruled the roost, right?
Yeah, and I made lifelong friends with the Sony Defense Force. But 360, it's starting to reach its limits here, right? Because we've got to talk about the HD texture pack. Because I have got the HD textures installed here, but you had to support consoles that did not have a hard drive. And basically, they had an optional HD install if you had a hard drive. So I've got some footage here for Alex. That bit earlier in the campaign where we were looking at the map with those group of soldiers. I mean, basically, looking at the soldiers at close visibility there, the textures are kind of like a mixed bag. Some of them just aren't fully formed. Some of them are. I think there's issues possibly with that map there. So yeah, I remember at the time that footage leaked out of the non-HD texture version, and people were saying it looked like a PS1 game.
I remember
which
that.
is kind of
goodness.
Come on,
Oh my god.
which
So
it doesn't
come on
now. The Wii, which would have been
It looked like a Wii game.
I'm getting shot to pieces here because I'm trying to listen to Rich laughing about Wii stuff, and I'm just dying almost.
yeah, but
Oh my gosh, I died.
I have got the game fully installed to hard drive now, which brings us textures and the main play disc. So I am on par with PlayStation 3 here. But I had there's another interesting difference. I had a 200 megabyte patch, which took ages to install. John had a 2 gigabyte patch on PlayStation 3, which was like
It took less time to install. Weirdly,
and I've got much faster internet than John, which is kind of funny.
yeah.
So
I don't know
so
what's
good.
up with that.
It's very strange, let's put it that way. But yeah, this is the classic Jimmy Kimmel stage, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
The home of those sawtooth shadows.
I will say, as far as if we're looking at shooters on the consoles exclusively, I would say some of the first party stuff probably holds up a little better. Like the Killzone stuff on PS3, I think looks better in its campaign than this, and Gears 3 I think probably looks better on the 360.
Yeah.
But for a multi-platform sort of showcase, this is actually pretty darn impressive. Like, this does not look bad, right?
No, it looks
Like,
really
because
really good.
a lot of shooters on these systems, look,
Especially
like,
ones.
go look at the sequel to Area 51, what is Black Site. Check that thing running out, and you just it's like eye-gougingly bad.
Did you guys move forward here? Oh yeah, there's a spawn box around this area. I get it. Okay. Little bit of I'm running the game at 1080p here. The highest settings, 4 times MSAA, and the deferred post AA, which is FXAA, also at the highest setting. So this probably looks a lot crisper than the console versions, but honestly, I would imagine if we're gonna do side by sides here, like if we look at a texture zone, we're gonna definitely see some pretty steep differences.
Yeah, after this battle, let's
Yeah.
look at some textures.
Yeah, let's look at some textures, but friendly fire will not be tolerated.
Yeah. I'm just losing track. I'm trying to keep track of the conversation, and then
I know. Well,
I know, it's difficult.
it's not easy. There are some cool things that we can look at too, like bullet decals or decals. If you if you're Colin, hi Colin. Maybe you're watching this.
And Jake.
Jake, yeah, too.
Hi, Jake.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
it's making me. I'm regrouping in the garage.
Oh yeah, that's what we got to do. So for me, I'm just shooting masked militiamen in this war-torn, totally not Iraq country. Maybe it is Iraq. I actually don't know if this is
okay.
ripped from the headlines or so. Oh, we're supposed to attack those things that say attack.
That'll stop the
I was
spawning.
Okay.
I was not paying attention. See, that's
But
yeah.
I don't get.
Not the best.
Am I just supposed to like shoot these dudes there? I guess so.
Yes.
Yeah, to shoot them. You notice you can actually. Is there light destruction on? Yeah, there is. Of course, there is actually destruction on certain things.
Oh yeah, let me
You can
push
chip,
a bit forward.
You
there.
can chip away the cover up where those guys were.
Oh yeah, let me try
The
that.
balconies.
Yeah, so like Battlefield. Oh my God, all the destruction and stuff.
Not everything is destructible.
No, sadly not. And it's like obviously pre-scripted and stuff. It's not like the Trees in Crisis. I mean.
Trice,
Yeah.
trees and trices.
I always forget what that's called. It's some usual speaking error when you miss up the first consonant.
I do it all the time, Alex.
So-
Who can
Yeah.
forget?
Let's so
Small folk.
we're all out in this parking lot area. This could be a good place to do some comparisons.
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
What
yeah.
do you think?
Let's look at some stuff instead of following, because they'll just the game will yell at us a bit. So
So where do you want to look at, Alex? Pick something.
I guess actually just the base ground, like around these, like so you step out of the garage, and then you can walk over here and look at some of these.
At that pile of rubble.
Yeah, look at that.
How does that compare to you?
Yeah, let's take a look here. So I'm like looking at like this.
That looks alright.
Actually. I mean, it looks like a 4x higher res texture on PC from the stream I'm looking at right now, but it doesn't look bad on the consoles. Like seriously, there would be games sometimes that would have a console version where they almost like would massacre the texture resolution to get it running. This looks still pretty good, actually.
You're right. It's surprisingly alright.
Yeah.
Man, DICE was on fire for this game.
I guess we should
at least tech-wise.
Let's look at, I guess, something with more normals on it.
Yeah.
I guess like one of these puddles right here too. Like I don't know, you can just walk up to one of them, like this one that I'm looking at right here. It looks comparable, not too bad.
No.
I mean, it doesn't look awful, so that's positive. So one thing I noticed too is let's go over to like one of these adjacent walls over here. There's a bunch of decals on it, decals.
Let's go look at the decals.
Let's go look at the decals. On PC, they actually do a little bit of parallax mapping on them to give them a bit of depth, which is kind of cool. So like
it's the same on here. Or something. They're doing something with it.
Because it wouldn't be the first game. Because I think Killzone 2 also has palm decals as well.
It does. Yeah.
So if they're doing that on console, that's honestly not bad at all.
They looked. What do you think? It looks pretty similar.
I think it actually does look pretty similar from going
it is.
back
I
and
could
forth.
see the parallax effect right there.
Yeah. You can see it also really well if you shoot the ground at times. You can see the parallax really well with that.
Oh yeah.
That's actually really cool that they managed to keep that on console while keeping the res
just
as
the ground texture in general. Look at that. That's pretty good for the console versions.
Oh yeah, it totally is.
Like it looks perfectly sharp.
I'm genuinely shocked how good this is on the consoles right now.
Viewers, the thing to keep in mind is that Xbox and PS3 both had 512 megs of RAM total, and on PS3 it was split.
Yeah.
So you had a 256 meg pool of VRAM and then system RAM as well. So, which of course made trouble for a lot of games. But
this looks good.
Wow, they really did a great job here.
And PC on Ultra, I think the recommended spec was a 1.5 gigabyte graphics card.
Yeah, that was including the 4x MSAA option. You could technically turn off MSAA and get no problem there with the frame buffer, but that would limit it. By the time of this release, this card came out 6 months later. That would have limited you to like aftermarket cards or something like the GTX 580 at that time, which was a 1.5 gigabyte card.
Where are you standing, Alex? Let me see. Okay, you're right there next to that railing. So if we look down the alley, point your up at the hotel.
Yeah, sure.
Sign, maybe.
John switched weapons.
Just looking at the sky here.
Yeah.
Like they're doing a lot of cool stuff with the colors and color grading, I'd imagine.
Oh my gosh, there's so much color grading in this game. It's almost,
which was something
it was controversial for the time, at least on PC, because people, you're used to playing a game and you can have like perfect visibility and you can see everything. Well, in this game, whenever you look at the sun or a person's flashlight, you see like a big lens flare. Or if you like,
and the dirt textures.
The dirt. I'm trying to get them to show up on my screen. The dirt textures aren't showing right now. But my God, the dirt texture. It's one of the things that actually doesn't hold up right now if you play the game at like 4K, because the dirt texture is pretty obviously something like 1080p at best.
Go. Ammo crate.
Yeah. Oh,
all right.
Shall
we follow?
Yeah.
Shall we follow these blokes?
Yeah, let's follow him. How do we just go through this door? Okay.
Yeah, just go through this back door here. We're going to go up to the roof and then engage in scripted stuff.
Yeah. I'm just genuinely shocked right now how well this is holding up on the consoles. Like, it looks super similar to the PC overall.
Yeah, this is kind of blowing my mind. Again, this is the first time I've played it on one of these consoles.
Yeah, I definitely never have.
I mean, do you remember what you were thinking, Rich, back then? Like, I assume you were suitably impressed with this.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. I'd say it was a masterpiece. I think that's what I said at the time, actually. And the fact that they managed to get so much of the core PC experience, because, at their hearts at the time, DICE was still PC guys, really.
100%. Yeah. What?
I was trying to
we
walk.
all died.
Slow.
You're supposed to shift run out of that.
Yeah,
one. Oh my God.
All right, let's do that. I was just trying to enjoy the visuals.
Me too. I was like, oh, look at those fake God rays. You know, they placed them in. This doesn't have volumetric lighting in yet for this version of the engine. That only came.
Also, wait, don't move. Don't.
Oh yeah,
okay.
sorry. Yeah.
Oh wait, no, it's a different spawn point anyway. So one thing also to note, Rich, you installed the game to the Xbox 360 hard drive,
Yes.
right? And Alex, obviously you're playing on a hard drive.
Yeah.
It's PC.
Even an SSD.
On PS3 though, it only installs a tiny portion, and most of the game runs from the disc. So as a result, loading times are a bit longer.
So I actually bet they did that for the purpose of, you know, kind of splitting up the resources at that point in time, because if you're streaming from two different areas for two different things, you can get actually a higher stream amount of data. You know,
Yeah,
smart.
GTA 5 did that on Xbox 360. It was actually a worse experience to play with everything. I've done it again. I've died.
Rich.
Yeah, it was a worse
Don't worry,
experience to
Rich, we'll wait
play when you had both discs installed to the hard drive. So it would actually ran better if you just installed the disc you're meant to install and run everything else off the CD, which posed problems for the digital copy of the game.
If I recall, though, that was actually one of our highest performing videos ever.
Yeah. That's kind of
People
nuts,
really
isn't it?
wanted to know about that.
Oh, for some reason. So let's look at some shadow maps when we get into this scene, by the way, because I'm just curious to see the resolution on the console. Yeah.
All right, pick one.
Let's this one right here, because it's a small little edge and it's a little bit hard to see. So let's look at it. I'm gonna walk right up to it and just stare at it. Honestly,
I'm doing the same.
I mean, I can see a little bit.
That's not bad.
I can see a little bit of edges there on 360 or PS3, I mean, but we'll see what 360 looks like in a second.
They're doing a nice dither filter on the edge there to sort of like conceal the low resness, and it looks all right, actually.
Actually, it looks pretty much comparable there on 360. Watch out, Rich. You may get shot from the right-hand side very shortly.
Yeah, there's guys coming in. Get ready.
Get ready for the dudes.
Is there tearing happening on yours, Rich?
Kind of looks like
seems
it.
pretty tear-free on the PS3.
It
but
does
like,
tear. I'm not sure in this particular area because it's pretty light, right? But the tearing has been pretty bad, worse than I remember it actually.
And it's less bad than I expected on PS3.
It's
I haven't
about the
noticed it
triple,
hardly
mate.
at all.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So, my goodness.
Okay, so this part, guys, just
is the famous
do
part.
what the game says. All right. If you try to stand up
can't hear a
when the
thing.
game says,
After
well, what I mean is like you have to just go stand up. You have to go crouch or crawl by that ledge. If
Yeah.
you stand up at all, you will die.
Okay, so I'm just gonna
Instantly.
stay crouched the entire time.
Oh, look at this shadow here on this electric box. How's that look on you, Alex?
On PC, it looks pretty okay. It looks great.
It does
actually.
it on the consoles. If you turn around, you get the nice moire patterns there on the fence.
Oh yeah.
Probably
on
not
PC, it looks pretty good.
less of an issue for you, Alex, but we're in post-process anti-aliasing land here.
Yeah, with the higher res, and I'm pretty sure the PC version's MSA uses transparency super sampling as well too, which was one of the reasons why it was expensive for the time period.
Can you actually see the fence at the end there, Alex?
Because
on here with the low res and the AA, it just turns to like nothing.
You can definitely see it, but
disappears.
it's aliasing a bit because obviously there's only so much can do. There's some wire.
All right,
there.
so don't just crawl. Get to prone.
Prone
position
now. Yeah.
That's maybe not. But at some point, if you're not in prone, the game will
Kill you
instantly.
So let's just prone our way through the rest of this game. This is the future. This is what Battlefield thought it should be doing in the year 2011. If you think about it.
Wow, look at his shoe. It's not horrible.
Yeah, looking at those shoes. This is some hardcore DF coverage here. We're looking at shoes.
Shoe analysis.
Honestly,
actually, his camo is pretty high res on his uniform there.
Yeah, like
and his weapon looks all right.
Character models hold up, I actually think, pretty well in this game. Here's where we have to go prone, and then we like get up and like shoot a missile launcher at the building, right? My goodness.
This highlights one of the problems with this campaign is that there's so much of this where you're just duplicating what the game tells you to do.
There's no fun to be had here, really.
This part is not actually fun. The shooting, it's pretty fun, but this stuff, this is dumb.
So now we have to quote unquote take out the sniper.
So I think the problem from my perspective is if I was running this on an OLED the follow icon I'd expect to burn in at some point.
You have to equip the RPG. It's probably actually not an
Alright.
RPG. Curious.
So we gotta wait until they tell
Oh
you
yeah.
to do it.
Oh, I just died. Son of a.
I told you.
I got.
You
You know.
do not stand up. Yeah, see, the game automatically stands up for you, and
How am
then
I
you
supposed
fire
to
it.
know that? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
and then you get that really cool destruction at least.
Yeah.
Which, wow, that looks really good.
And
actually.
you know, some amazing looking destruction here on PC too, obviously. Okay, so I'm gonna do that exact same thing too. It literally stands up for me.
Yes.
Yeah, just wait.
Okay. Sure. I'm
This is a masterpiece as far as technical engineering, not necessarily of game design.
This was a
Yeah, I
problem throughout the generation, right? Because it's constantly spooling assets in the background.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
this
it.
really slowed down so many games.
So there's a lot of waiting for people to open doors.
Yep.
So,
so
much.
much waiting.
A lot of follow icons.
So much waiting.
Follow and move icons.
Okay, so
Yep.
now I'm here.
Now we have to shoot dudes down on the street, I think.
Yeah. Can you provide cover from up there? Okay. I don't see any dudes yet.
See, that's the thing. We're just sitting here waiting for
Actually,
them.
this-
Watch your sectors.
This is a good part to get a little bit of draw distance differences. Let's look over at this
Okay.
market, like where the flag is hoisted. Right over there.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just look down
Yeah.
there. I'll switch to my
flag.
my DMR.
The flag is there.
Everything looks. I mean,
If you zoom in,
you get a sense of the
Yeah.
difference. Yeah, quite
you can
different.
see the
looking
shadow difference at a distance.
for that aspect, but
Big time. That's exactly the areas you'd expect them to cut back, right?
anything at a distance.
I think
Yeah.
I think action is unfurling over here. I better go take care of that.
Oh yeah. There's. Oh, this street. Okay.
Wait, I didn't. Oh, that's a friend. Okay.
Friendly fire is not tolerated, John.
It says that, but then it doesn't game over you, so it is tolerated. In fact,
Maybe it's on the easy difficulty level.
Yeah.
there's bad guys down there. I swear.
I swear it.
Where's that from, Alex? Come on.
Off the top of my head, while I'm thinking about Battlefield, I can't even think about it right now. What is it from, John?
Crisis 2.
Oh, it is. Oh God, that's
the
from the
intro
intro
on
of
the
the game
sub.
with that horrible guy,
Yep.
with all of them.
Yes, with the
it's
accent.
The accent. There's the one who's saying like, he starts like dancing around in the sub, almost like being like,
Yeah.
bad guys are everywhere. We gotta be careful.
There's bad guys out there. I can feel it.
See, like this is just like shooting gallery stuff. Like they are obviously going for that because Call of Duty campaigns get away with this all the time.
Yep.
But I think it was such a disappointment back in the day because it was a campaign that wasn't leveraging Battlefield's strengths, which was like larger open levels, combined arms gameplay where like in the middle of a mission you could like switch to like a Jeep or to a tank. There's none of that really here. It's all
That's the ironic thing, I think, is that the only Battlefield campaign that actually really tapped into that was a console exclusive. Right?
yeah, it is, and it's totally nuts.
Bad Company 1.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding me? Like, that was the one that actually delivered what you'd expect from Battlefield. And, well,
Here we are shooting at dudes on top.
I don't think they could have, like I said earlier, I don't think they could have achieved this level of fidelity with a game that open on the consoles. So clearly this was meant to be a showpiece.
It's strange too that after this game, the lessons they learned were kind of to not go back to that BFBC one design,
know.
but instead there's just so many dudes here. I don't know what we're doing. Are these bad
Leaving
guys?
at speed.
Yeah. Okay.
No, those are good guys now.
Okay, well.
Now you have to go to the other corner and follow.
Follow. Yeah. Gotta
Yeah, follow.
follow.
Here's the other
There's
thing.
so much follow
they're
in
loading
this
in
game.
stuff while they move this plank.
Oh,
Yep.
I can't wait.
I
Almost
think
there.
if we're being brutally honest, this as a game, this is nowhere near as good as Bad Company 2.
No, it isn't.
Or Bad Company 1. Or honestly, I would say Battlefield 4 is significantly better as a
Yeah,
campaign
absolutely.
than this.
Like
The jet mission where you're piloting an aircraft. I don't know if we'll get to that in this video, maybe, because it's pretty soon, but it's basically a 20-minute cutscene that you occasionally press a button on. There's really nothing to it. It's kind of shockingly bad.
yeah.
Here, I'll wait for you guys to catch up here at the bottom.
Yeah, sorry, I was waiting for someone to move a plank out of the way. You know how that is.
Follow.
Because you can't move the
So,
plank
I'm gonna
yourself.
stand at the. I'm gonna stand here at the edge of this alley down here, or this like marketplace area with the tree in view, and then we can do a little comparison shot.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I did notice, Rich, something that was common, I think, with Frostbite games on consoles was that they would use a resolution just slightly below 720.
Yes, it's 704, I believe.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so you get the little slim black bars along the top and bottom.
I was curious if they would do a really weird upscale there or just actually black bar it. So there you go.
Okay, Rich, why don't you move over to the center a little
Where are you
more of
guys
that
at?
street? So,
Oh, you're like there.
back
Okay,
up.
like
Now back up
behind
a
the
little
car.
bit. Yeah, and then put your top red of the 4 reticle pieces.
On the top of follows.
The bottom of the top one should touch the follow arrow.
Okay, I'm gonna wait a little bit.
Of the top one. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
up a little bit, up, just vertical up, so that
Yeah, a little
it
bit
touches
more.
the top of the arrow.
Top of the arrow. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, that's good enough.
And I'll do that on PC as well too, which is a little bit harder because it's a
Yeah.
mouse and well, yeah, that looks about just right.
This is tearing pretty badly.
Wow.
You can't see it because obviously the seed is still, but
Right.
the frame rate detection is picking it up.
Going nuts.
It's shockingly stable here on the triple.
Oh my
But
gosh.
this is neat. It really is quite surprisingly comparable. The one thing I'm seeing actually is that it seems like on PC you have a wider FOV.
Yeah, it's default
Oh
7.
wait, no wait. You're standing in a different position. That's why.
Yeah,
Well,
if you push
stay
back
where you're
a
at,
little
Alex.
bit. Yeah, stay back a little bit. And default
if I
70
stand back-
FOV on the PC for me. And
Yeah, even there.
and what else? I mean, the one thing I'm seeing is the shadows on the far left on the building are more complete. And
Yeah.
it maybe looks like the LOD of the building is slightly different. It's a little bit hard to tell through the stream. A little bit hard to tell with the stream.
Maybe, yeah, hard to tell.
It'll bear out afterwards in the video. But other than that, a lot of the stuff on the ground is still there.
Very smart cuts, I would say. Like they managed to perfectly retain the look of each scene and just made the kind of cutbacks you would expect.
Yeah, it's
So let's all walk forward on the count of 3, shall we?
yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, go. Just walk straight forward. Good for a comparison shot.
Nice.
See those tree shadows, the nice cascades visible there.
Horrible
Nice
aliasing
bounce lighting.
on the consoles on the stairs.
Yeah.
Some nice bounce lighting right here. So this
Oh,
this game used Enlighten's, what is it called? In Geomerics? Enlighten.
Enlighten.
I forget the exact name of it. But it's
Oh dang! What was
The
it?
light-
It was also used in Mirror's Edge, right?
no, that was a different system. That was using Beast or whatever. Or no, wait, they called it. I
Oh.
forget what it was called.
Yeah, I forget. There's a bunch of them back then.
Yeah, Mirror's Edge was full light maps. This one is something called dynamic light maps mixed with spherical harmonic probes, which is a very modern
Right.
way to do things, to say the least. But it definitely
It is,
defined
yeah.
this game's look versus the predecessors, like Battlefield Bad Company 1 and 2, basically have no indirect lighting other than SSAO.
That's right.
So
I mean, most games didn't.
most games did not. And in this case, like, at least according to presentations, the version that's running on PC is quote unquote fully dynamic, and the version on console is not. So that is only kind of doesn't really pertain to the game, though. It kind of doesn't really matter because all of the levels, at least in the single player campaign, have completely static time of days. Like the sun is not moving.
Yeah.
The only thing you can maybe do is like shoot out a light, and that's about it. It's
And you can do that on the console too, which I just
Oh,
did.
check it out. So I destroyed the light, but if I still look at it where it was, the incredibly awful lens flare is still there.
That does not happen here,
Did you shoot it
as
out?
you see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shot it out. And there's no weird lens flare.
What trash. Can't believe DICE made this version. It's so bad.
That is what a weird thing. Okay, let me try this light. Oh no, it happens here.
Okay, so
That's just a bug.
yeah. This is one of those times where the lens flares were driven by like artists placing them
Yeah.
in the world. And instead of being, like shader programmatically driven, which is, that's why Crisis 2 looked the way it did. It was all like shader driven lens flares, and this game seems to have it all artist driven for the most part. Which definitely gives it a look. But I was saying earlier, like, it was really controversial when this game came out on PC that you could not turn off this like heavy post processing. Like, it was a huge deal. Kind of still is.
Man,
But this area looks
is,
good.
This looks really good.
Yeah, this area looks really great. I think on PC as well too. I think they use this like cross section also in a multiplayer map with a completely different time of day though.
It's kind of funny to think like because of things like the Switch and the Steam Deck, I feel like our tolerance for things has kind of reached an interesting point where
we're a little bit fascinated now.
Yeah, like this doesn't actually look that bad, you know what I mean?
No,
like, it still holds up.
Yeah, I think I've been just like pleasantly surprised the entire time about how the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions look. I mean, we'll check a little bit about the performance after the fact in certain scenarios, especially on Rich's end there, where
check out my shadow map.
Oh yeah. Is the shadow map getting all messed up there on PS3? Oh. Yeah, I can see it though for certain. Like on PC, it's completely fine. The shadow cascade is like.
I think John's moved on to tracing the wire.
Yeah, hold on, I'm coming back out there.
Oh wait, yeah.
I was about to trace the wire. So the shadow map on the.
Oh yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, that's just too. It's too. That's asking too much.
Too much. I mean, if we think about games that actually had fully real-time shadow maps, like it's pretty rare for like them actually running and looking good. So. Props to DICE for this even looking the way it does at all.
Yeah, it's too big for the PS3 and Xbox 360.
I'm just enjoying that I have to hit E to breach.
So, I have to go prone inside an air duct. Awesome.
This is just like Deus Ex. This is so good.
This part does not look great.
Yeah.
They didn't, there was,
There's only so much you can do. Like for this is an area where like, okay, it's, like fully specular surface. This game only has cube maps. My goodness. What do we do here? Yeah, there's not much.
So this is something I mentioned the other day on Twitter, but
really, Rich?
Check out this arcade, this board here. Go forward, Alex. If you go to the place where you have to interact with, check out that circuit board on the table. I traced that down to that is an arcade PCB from Konami. I think it might have been Super Contra, actually.
Wow.
But it's an arcade PCB that they cut off on this edge here. So it's not the full board, but you can see at the bottom it's got the JAMA connector.
Yeah, I see that.
See the little the Konami sticker there in the middle. So yeah, and then they used it again for this. So like they must have just sourced well, we need a texture for a circuit board, and somehow they ended up putting that in. And I want to say it's intentional to be fun, and I'm sure somebody noticed it, obviously. But the fact that they cut it off makes me wonder, actually, like, wait, did they realize what that was or not?
Well, in this game, it's an improvised explosive device. So, see, like this. Who actually ever thought this was fun?
These are not fun. Also, his facial expression is hilarious in this. The guy has the emotion of a corkboard.
Pleasant surprise of getting his ass beaten.
I noticed they've got a headbutt in there. There was a time in the UK where they would not allow headbutts in movies of a certain age restriction. Really? Yeah, there was one in the classic one is Attack of the Clones. There's a headbutt there that they removed.
There's even a shadow map from that adjacent light here on the consoles. I'm just genuinely shocked. Like, usually this is stuff you'd see culled out of a console game completely.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. DICE was really, they were firing on all cylinders, man. This is crazy stuff. Oh, what is this device? Oh, look, it looks like an old cable box. You've got composite video, possibly an S-video port. Looks like
that's not a VGA. That's
like a BNC connector. Yeah. This is obviously for RF. It's like an RS-232 port, I think, because it's a 9-pin.
Yeah.
And then that's obviously the power input. And there's more.
They even have a teddy bear, which is also a bomb. You can see the wires coming out of it.
It's a bomb. Wait, look, the chair moves. Oh, it's just physics. I thought they put like a spinning animation.
Oh no, that'd be so cool. But the chair does move.
This expression.
There's a lot of physics here. Oh, is he very sad? Oh.
Yeah, but he's also static. Hey, the water bottles though, they have physics, and these boxes do too, but they kind of clips through the.
Hot dang!
They were trying.
This guy's very surprised, isn't he? Look.
Yeah. Just seeing physics items, though, every time I see them move around, it takes me back to the first time I played Max Payne 2 and running around the hospital, bumping into everything on
Look at
purpose.
the carts and things. It's like, oh yeah.
Just to watch. It's like, oh yeah, look at this.
Tire stuff.
Tearing here.
Yeah, I can.
Going back outside.
It's so bad that I can see it over the stream, Rich. That's so incredible.
See, I'm feeling like 360 has much worse tearing than based on this.
Based
'cause I
upon what
haven't seen
Rich is
hardly
saying,
any
it
on
almost
PS3.
seems to be that case. One thing is, I'm not sure. I'm hoping that there's a bit of weird specular aliasing here. So this is, before TAA, and there's like some weird scene causing specular aliasing right there. It's pretty awful. Yeah, my goodness, that doesn't look good.
Move.
But yeah, just talking about that gameplay again. So we just went inside and we're going back outside. We entered a.
Oh shoot!
Oh my god,
I'm getting destroyed here, gents.
Oh yeah, I got to be careful here. Oh, people are dying, literally dying. Oh my goodness. This is so violent.
It's not violent. It's Battlefield.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, this part. Okay, long distance shooting on a console like this is not pleasant. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, you kind of have to preempt where they're going.
I'm generally not even sure what I'm supposed to do because I can't hear anything.
Okay, that's not.
Audio
fun.
is a huge part of video games, people. So if this game looks disorganized to you, it's actually just because we can't.
Did you? So they don't even. I just wanted to run down there and like Doom 2016 those guys, but the game says no.
No.
It does that thing where it's like you're going out of the mission area.
That's interesting. This game, so a really cool tech thing that I just saw when the guy picked up the light machine gun here, he did drop the bipod and it sticks to the surface, which is kind of cool. Like previous Battlefield games would kind of just have like the bipod be it would just be there. It actually wouldn't do anything. But here it's like context sensitive. It adheres to surfaces. That's pretty cool. Like that's usually stuff that was for the time like sim games would do. Definitely not something like Battlefield.
Okay, moving to the next position. Let's see here.
The,
Oh yeah, I have
50
to get
cal,
on this. Yeah,
Oh,
this is a scripted scene.
see, I've lost cover, so I have to move to a different cover. I shouldn't have reloaded. Ugh. See, oh,
Yeah, but without sound, it is actually
It
kind of
is, yeah.
difficult to parse what you're doing.
I hope everyone saw me shooting this technical here, where you shoot the guy like 100 times and then the Jeep explodes.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's so funny, so funny. Oh,
Oh,
my God.
here's the earthquake scene where like a big scripted thing.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. I say scripted like destruction sequences. I'm always take it or leave it. I'm not very
I
excited
like
about
those.
them.
I think they're fine. I don't mind them. I think it's a fun thing.
Yeah.
So I think here they do the airplane. Yeah. No, wait. No.
Warning. Oops. I tried to go a different way. My goodness. That is
Don't do that. No. So I guess you wake. This is the one where it's at night. And you,
where it's
wake up from the
awful.
rubble.
Oh my God. Talk about absolutely ruining the mood. Is that level. I distinctly remember playing this level when I had this game back in the day on my GTX 570 SLI rig, which was pretty sick for the time period. And I just remember failing the
Oh, you can
QTE
skip it, Rich.
constantly because you have to knife a mouse on the ground or something like that. Like something really bizarre. Like you have to like kill a mouse. I'm not even kidding. We'll see this
man.
soon enough. I'm not kidding.
Rich, you can skip the cutscene.
Good.
There you go.
So far, I've only seen one scene that dropped my performance from a flat 60, which is pretty awesome. Oh,
That is pretty awesome.
yeah, there we go.
This was where I think it was actually my first PC press trip preceded this. GTX 680. That was my first
Yes.
GPU press trip. And yeah, I remember getting the 670 and trying Battlefield on it. And it was just monstrously fast.
Oh, it's so good. It was a great GPU for the time. The only thing holding it back is the VRAM. It's one thing
Right.
I've always been sad about.
As I told Alex, I first played this on a 5870 from ATI. I think it was still. Was it still ATI at that point?
Yeah, it was originally
Yes.
ATI and then switched over to AMD
Yeah.
shortly thereafter, if I recall. This game is interesting because You can read about the transition to DX11 for Frostbite 2, but before it came out, they were announcing all the DX11 stuff that they want to use to make this game work and why they want to go DX11 only. And one of the things they were saying was CPU performance increases. And in the presentation that was done by Johan Andersen was he's describing using DX11 deferred context, which is quote unquote driver multi-threading, semi-explicit driver multi-threading. And it's something that at the end of the day was only ever supported in DX11 by NVIDIA. So back in the day, if you were playing this game on an ATI AMD based GPU PC, it might have actually had a very different performance profile than we're showing here. Maybe that's one thing to look at some point in time.
Because I remember I was unable to hit 60 FPS at the time, stable in this game. It was kind of, uncapped. I remember when I played the campaign, I actually used a 30 FPS cap just to have a consistent visual experience, and I could play it at 1080p with all settings boosted up, and it looked, good.
This level does look pretty good, though, to be honest with you.
Oh, there's the mouse QTE.
Yeah, see, that's
what the rat.
See, I just remember dying to the mouse, and I was like, I'm done with this campaign. That's what a.
And then he picks him up by the tail, and the fact that they put that in there is kind of mind blowing to me, and it's such a wow. It demonstrates what 2011 was about, where games were at that time.
I am definitely not into that kind of design.
What needless rodent abuse?
Well, no, I'm all for the rodent abuse, but
Alex, don't abuse the rodents.
It's actually one of my favorite running gags in Monty Python's Quest for the Holy Grail is the cat being abused in the background. I always.
Well, maybe we should start to wrap this up.
Yeah,
I think because at this point we're just kind of
we're just riffing on the game at this point.
Yeah, but I think it was fun to revisit this in a way. We're only, like I said, we're only looking at the campaign. Obviously, that's what we did today. Multiplayer is a different beast, but the campaign is what was all about showcasing visuals.
Oh, for sure.
So
I just
yeah.
This poor mouse. As I say this, but yeah, it would have been a really good time to actually play the multiplayer game, which is where you'd see some of the bigger differences, like the fact that the PC game had 64-player multiplayer, the consoles only had 24. It was a big difference and a big deal back in the time. But something we can't show in this video. But still, I hope you got a sense of the differences here between the Xbox 360 and PS3 version.
It's funny, real quick though. It does make me think when Battlefield 4 was coming out the next some years later. That was our first taste that suggested that something was weird with the Xbox One. Because going into that generation, I think because of how performant 360 was, I think most people kind of expected Xbox One to be equal or better than PS4.
Yeah, right.
There were a lot of spec leaks that were saying the opposite. The 1.2 teraflop thing was out. Tom actually went to that press event for Battlefield 4.
I remember that, yeah.
And everybody could see that the 360 not the 360, the Xbox One version was a lower resolution, but nobody could quantify it, and they were kind of sidling up to Tom to ask him for his thoughts on it. Of course, the irony was everyone was thinking that it was 1080p on PlayStation 4 and it was 900p. But
yeah, with
720 on the One. But yeah, that's a really interesting war story. You could go into it if you want, but we could wrap it up. But essentially, we had no idea how compliant to HDMI specs the consoles were at the time. So basically, Tom loaded up with absolutely every kind of HDMI converter, capture device that we had. And he was carrying a full PC about.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant. And that was happy days.
Well, the PS3, which I had reminded myself of today, it has HDCP enforced at all times, right?
That was something we were worried about.
Yeah.
Naturally. So, well, I just died again. There we go. But anyway, I think it's a good place to wrap it up.
As I watch these guys just kind of wantonly shoot a transformer for reasons unknown. But yeah, thank you for joining me, Rich and John. I hope you had fun covering this game with me on my retro PC. Oh my gosh, it's retro. I feel old. yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're already a subscriber, hit that little bell in the corner to be informed as soon as Digital Foundry posts video. If you want to see more PC Time Capsule videos like this in the future, help us out a bit, support us on Patreon to get years worth of our content for high quality download. And other than that, this is Alex saying Auf Wiedersehen und
A justice for rodents.